WORX Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits, WORX Power and Garden Tools, CVA muzzle loaders, it's just a better gun, Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience, TUFFSHED, great storage sheds and custom buildings, True Turn Hooks, hook more fish, Furminator, the best food plot implements on earth, Roadrunner Lures, Roadrunner equals more fish, Arctic Ice, the most durable and versatile cooler packs, Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait, and the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, state parks, and historic sites.
Good morning, boys and girls. This is O'Neill from high in the mountains of North Georgia. This is WORX Radio. Very, very special program today. You know all the sponsors that are involved and all the things that we do almost every Saturday. It is still the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in America. However, today's program is recorded. And why? Because so many people on the Facebook and the internet and email have inquired from me, where in the world is Travis? Travis, of course, has been on radio. He had his own television show called Travis Johnson Outdoors. He's been on with O'Neill Outside for many, many years, and he appears to be dropped off the map a little bit, but of course he has not. So in today's program, we're going to talk to Travis. Where does he live? What does he do? How does he make a living? How did he end up in the place he's in? And we'll find out about the topography and where and what took him out to where you'll find out where he lives now. We'll dispense with the radio prize package today because this is a very, very personal program that you're listening to. This is O'Neill's reattachment, if you will, between Travis and our audience, because I can't ignore it anymore. Evidently, people care what happened to him, and he's doing wonderfully, and so we'll be talking about that today on WORX Radio nationwide. Okay, unusual program today on WORX Radio. Hope you don't mind, and let's start all over again, if you will, a little bit. I have on the line Travis Johnson, a friend of yours that many of you still know from radio and television, and we're pleased to have him on the air today. So, Travis, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Well, since this is recorded, it's afternoon, but good morning to everybody listening.
Well, everybody misses you, so let's start by tell everybody where you live now.
Well, I actually live right on the Texas-Oklahoma border, up in the Panhandle of Texas. And my house is actually 5 or 6 miles into Oklahoma, but I do most of my work is done in Texas, between the cows and the hunting and any little. I find any little side job that I can to make $1 out here, but it's a good place to live. You just got to work hard.
Well, you have mentioned so many times before, you absolutely love it, don't you?
Oh yeah, I won't. I don't see myself going anywhere else. Maybe Montana one day or something like that, but I'm gonna stick around here for now.
Okay. Well, let's describe what's the town you live in, please.
Okay, so I live in a little town of Sweetwater, Oklahoma. I'm not exactly sure of the population, but it's not very high. We do have a school and a church and a gas station and a 4-way stop. See, everybody talks about all the country music singers. They talk about the one red light town. Well, we've got a flashing stop sign.
That's great. Well, you're painting a great picture there for where you live. So What got you there? I mean, what was the spark? What was the message that put you where you are?
Well, it was just kind of, I mean, I always loved coming out here hunting. And, I mean, really, I still worked for Danny Pierce at Rush Creek Guide Service. And I was just, a few years ago was out here, had some time to kill, and, picked up a broom and started sweeping the barn. And one thing led to another. And I was taking people, I knew most of the spots from having been here several times hunting, and started taking a few people around, and I just kind of never really left.
Well, how deeply are you into this lifestyle? Do you have horses?
I've got a couple horses. One of them I just retired a month or so ago. He's an old man, so he gets to enjoy his retirement in the pasture. I've got one young 3-year-old colt that I'm working with now, getting him started. He's going to be a real good cow horse. He loves chasing cows.
Oh, he does.
I think he actually hates the cows, is what it is. He's in the backyard out here now, guarding the hay bale from the yearlings that I weaned last week. So.
Oh, I see. What's his name?
Peanut.
That's a strange name for a horse, Trav.
Well, that's the name I use for him when he's behaving. When he's misbehaving, I've got some Spanish superlatives that I call him.
Oh, I see. Are you learning Spanish?
Yeah, a little bit. We've got a guy that works in the barn. His name is Ilario. Most of the time, when it's not a hunting season, or if we're not branding cattle or anything that involves a lot of people, it's really just me and him working. So you kind of can't help but pick up on, when he's talking bad about you, you got to figure out what he's saying.
Oh, I see. All right. I think one of the things that might give everyone a kind of a picture, a mental picture of where you live and your lifestyle now is the following. Do you wear cowboy boots every day?
Most days, every night. If it snows, I put on my muck boots because my toes get cold.
Okay. Do you wear a cowboy hat every day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're deep into this cowboy lifestyle, I've got to tell you, because the photos that I see that you put on Facebook, it's all Western gear and Western activities and so on. As a matter of fact, do you mind? Shall we share your Facebook page information?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's just it's nothing special. It's just Travis Johnson, but you can. I'll link it to yours.
Okay.
Or tag the O'Neill Outside page.
All right.
In some photos or something, and people can find it there.
Okay.
I think a lot of people probably already have it. So.
Well, could be. Now, I want to know about your daily activities and how deep you are into the hunting season and what you do there, what you learn, and what you can pass on. But before I do that, I want to know. It would help if everyone knows, understands the topography of where you live. They might be surprised.
Okay, so like right here where I live, elevation's probably around 2,500 feet, 2,500 to 2,700, depending on exactly where you're at.
Okay, but you're not in the mountains, are you?
No. There's a few. It's not far. This place is really interesting. So you can go from Raiden, Oklahoma, in the Red Hills, and then go down south of Shamrock, Texas, and in that little, which would probably take you an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to drive that. Just in that 2 hours, you'll go from Red Clay Hills to Big Mesquite Flats on a river. This is like the kind of a transition. That was one of the things I liked about it. You can be in different kind of cover as far from a hunting perspective in just a little bit of time. And then as you go toward Dalhart, where we do our mule deer and antelope and whitetail hunting up there, you'll gain another 1,000 feet in elevation in just a short period of time. They call it the Cap Rock.
Okay.
So you climb and get up on the Cap Rock. Now people that have come to visit, family, and you and Grant have been out here and seen it. Everybody's comments like it's flat, but this part isn't flat. You get up on the Cap Rock, that's flat.
Okay.
You could roll a marble up there and it wouldn't stop for a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, is it dry?
It is about, I'm going to say average about 18 inches of precipitation a year, which is not much more than what an actual desert gets. But we've got, it's grassland. 100 years ago, there weren't any trees or anything out here. Some of the books that I've read about this area, from diaries of people who, when they were settling the West, going across, would make comments that, they would travel for an entire day and not even see a tree or any other kind of landmark to mark their progress.
I see.
It was just the ocean of grasses.
Well, that's, you changed, you changed your lifestyle. You changed where you live. You changed your profession from being on radio and television. There's been a lot of changes in your life in a very, very short period of time.
Right. Well, I'm waiting on the statute of limitations to run out. No, I'm just kidding. It's just this lifestyle that I've kind of adopted it's hard work, but it's good, honest work. Generally most of the time dealing with good, honest people, and I sleep good every night knowing that I'm accomplishing what I set out to do, and learn a lot. There's so much that I don't know that I'm figuring out slowly but surely. But it's just I don't know. I just fell in love with it.
Well, I can identify with it because you've heard me say this, and I've said it many, many times, both face-to-face and on radio, the following. If I didn't live in Georgia, if I had to live elsewhere, it would be Texas.
Yeah, it's a very special place. Now, the Panhandle is its own place. Now I'll tell you, this is not North Texas. North Texas is south of here.
Okay.
And they're not shy to correct you when you first come out here, and they it's kind of like being from Albany, Georgia. If you call it Albany, they know you're not from there.
That's correct. Good illustration. Well, you're certainly happy with it. How long have you lived there now?
I'm thinking. I was thinking about it the other day. I think we're right at 4 years.
My goodness.
So it's been I've got a nice little house with a pasture and a weaning pasture in the back that I've got some calves in. I'm actually looking out my back window at them. Mm-hmm. Walking around out there, getting them weaned and getting ready to have some new calves. And we just finished up just a couple days ago is the youth season. We got a couple weeks after the end of deer season where it's under 16 still can shoot bucks, but the adults, it's like a doe season.
Okay.
So we just finished up with that this week and everything. So this has really been my first day off in a while.
Well, since you mentioned it, let me ask you, how many days a week do you work?
It's 7 days a week doing something between my personal cattle that I have and everything else. I mean, it's 7 days a week most weeks. Doing a little bit of something now. Some days maybe fairly easy days, and some days we're branding cows or something. 2 or 3 days of hard work, and then obviously hunting season. That's 12, 14, 15-hour days. It varies. That's one of the things that I like about it is I don't have to. I'm not going and sitting behind a desk and doing the same thing over and over and over again. Okay,
every day's different. Well, all right. Now we're going to take a break here in just a few seconds, but let's prepare ourselves and prepare the audience to talk about Rush Creek and what you do as a guide and how everyone may experience it. All set?
10-4. I can do that.
All right. You stay right there. In case you just joined us, this is a very unusual WORX radio program. This is O'Neill, the same old guy, but we're talking today with Travis Johnson. Now, Travis is my grandson. many, well, thousands of you know him because he's been on radio with me. He had his own television show, and he was on O'Neill Outside. And as a matter of fact, I hasten to mention that my television program is still called O'Neill Outside with Travis Johnson. And this Travis is the person that we're talking with today. So, welcome back. You ready to chat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's make an effort to give some appreciation for your involvement in the outdoor side of this thing, regards being a hunting guide. So let me kick it off with when does your overall hunting season begin, and with whom is that?
Okay, I guess the start of the hunting season, we'll start with the antelope season.
Okay.
Because we usually, and you'll see as I explain this, why that's the kind of the start of it. That's our longest break is over the summer.
Uh-huh.
So antelope season starts on the closest Saturday to the October 1st, whichever. So it could be the last Saturday of September or the first Saturday of October.
Okay.
It's a 9-day season. Also coincides. That's also the opening day of archery season in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we're geared up. Well, we start several weeks before that. Sometimes a month before that. Putting out trail cameras and bait stations, feeders and all that. Getting an idea of what kind of bucks we got in the area. What our deer look like, and so then we run through the 9 days of antelope season, which if anybody's interested in that is probably one of the most fun hunts that we put on.
The antelope season is?
The antelope season, it's 9 days. We'll get anywhere from, the way it works is you get landowner tags, so it's not an over-the-counter deal. But we purchase the landowner tags from the places that we lease,
mm-hmm.
and then so it's kind of unique in that we can use the pickups kind of to maneuver and get in range.
Okay.
And,
well, how big a farm?
We're 100% like ongoing on antelope success during the season. Everybody kills one.
Okay, and it's Rush Creek, RUSH, Rush Creek.
RushCreekGuideServices.com is the website. You've seen it on the show, and I'm
mm-hmm.
sure we'll see it again. I mean, I talk about it all the time, posting the link on my Facebook page if anybody wants to add me on there, and we can you can scroll through, and it won't be hard to find a post where I've got it tagged.
Well, then with 100% success for everyone that you guide during the antelope season, are you already booked for 2021?
Well, there's always at least one or two openings.
I see. Okay.
Now they may book up pretty quick after I talk about this. So
I imagine so.
Generally, a lot of people do come back and hunt again, and those tags are limited because
mm-hmm.
we only get so many. So they are limited. They are on a first come first serve basis, but like I said, it's a lot of fun. Okay. And antelope meat's really good.
Oh, yes, indeed. I can identify with that. Now, you made a statement earlier that that one of the farms, you called it a farm that you hunt, and it's busy activities on the farm, and you hunt there. How large is this farm?
That farm is about 100,000 acres.
Gee
give or
whiz.
take. It's actually a little less, but with the other leases that we have around it, we have over 100,000 acres of land access in that area.
And that's over in the Panhandle.
Yes, sir. That's on the west side of the Panhandle, in a little town of Dalhart.
Mm-hmm.
And in the surrounding area there, we've got about 100,000 acres of access. Now that's our some places that we could deer hunt and not turkey hunt and vice versa and stuff like that, but I'd say somewhere around 30,000 acres.
You and Rush Creek have 30,000 acres in which to hunt the various critters.
Yes, sir.
Wow. See, I bring that up because it puts it in perspective, these distances, because, well, of course, where I live, and I can go 500 yards.
Right.
Without anywhere close to the success, of course, that you have. All right, so the antelope season subsides. What's next?
So then, antelopes, like I said, the opening day coincides with archery season. So as soon as we're done antelope hunting, then we're bow hunting, which is a great time to hunt, and we don't have near as many hunters as you would expect during the archery season, and I don't know why, because it's great hunting. Now it's hot usually, but the deer are here, and it's a really good time to hunt them. And then of course, there's a week of muzzleloader season, and the rifle season will open right at the end of October. This year it was a week late, so it actually opened the first weekend of November.
Okay.
And that's the rifle season, and then coincide, and it goes till the first Sunday of January, and then you have a 2-week doe season for adults, and a youth season still wide open for anyone under 16 to still take a buck after that. So like this year, we rifle hunted from the first weekend of November until January 17th.
Okay. Well, let's give you an opportunity for the following. Rush Creek is not a new guide service, is it?
No, sir. If you ask Danny, he says he's been a guide his entire life, because he always, was taking his friends and other family members and stuff like that, since he was a little kid. And but he started the business. I guess he's been going now for somewhere around 30 years.
Okay.
Hunted many different ranches out here, and it's. I mean, we're just still rocking and rolling. We just keep killing them.
Well, I will testify that I've hunted with Danny, and you can agree with me or expand on the following. I hunted with him, and he has a significant Indian heritage, does he not?
Well, he looks like it, but if you ask him, he says no.
Okay.
So they don't really know, but he hunts like one.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because the few days that I've spent, pardon me, with him, he's different when you're out hunting. He thinks differently, looks differently. He's more patient, isn't he?
Yes, and he really knows. I mean, there's very few things that I'll argue with him about, but when it comes to hunting, if he says this is what's going to work, you can do something else if you want to, but it'll come back to bite you.
I got you. Well, the day I hunted with him, he predicted exactly what eventually happened.
Yes.
He kind of understands it. Now, do you think you are getting a whiff of that?
Yeah, you kind of can't help it when you spend as much time, out there with them, with the deer and the birds and everything else that we hunt. I mean, you kind of, if you're paying any attention at all, they will, and this goes for anybody. I mean, we spend 200 days a year, probably just, kind of, that's a rough estimate of how many days we hunt. And I mean, when you spend 200 days a year out there watching them, the animals will tell you what you need to know. You just got to be willing to listen to them.
Okay. Don't have any preconceptions. Just pay attention, huh?
Yeah, they'll tell you what they want to do. Now, sometimes they might tell you something you don't like there's nothing here. But if you pay attention, the woods and the animals will tell you what you need to know to be successful.
Well, I think there's a point to be made here, and we have a lot of things to talk about, but I want to make a special point here right now. That where you hunt with Rush Creek, and we're going to get in further details, this is not a high fence operation where you just walk into a blind and pull the trigger, is it?
No, sir. Everything here, including the quail and the pheasant that we hunt, is 100% wild, 100% fair chase, pure organic, grass-fed wildlife.
Okay.
Now, they do eat a lot of corn, but they have the option not to come.
Okay. Well, it's I know that the time I spent out there, this was before you got there. It was absolutely marvelous, and now, well, my goodness, Trav, I think I need to go back, don't you?
I think you should. It'd be nice to see you.
Well, I think I'd probably need to go back out there and hunt with you or with Rush Creek or whatever. So, all right, now we're going to go to a break here in about 20 seconds. And
Okay.
I'm going to, my next subject matter, continuing with the hunting category, and I'll reintroduce you, but when we get back, I want to know how many days you hunt, how many different people you guide, and what would you say to someone to be a better hunter. Okay? We'll be back.
Okay.
Well, if you've just tuned in to WORX Radio on this Saturday morning, you'll notice this is not a live program. It's different. And I want to introduce you again. Many of you know him. His name is Travis Johnson. He's my grandson. He's my partner in radio and partner in television, reminding you that, of course, O'Neill Outside Television is still called O'Neill Outside with Travis Johnson. And he just wasn't a tag-along. He took over. Quite frankly, he took over the show is what he did. But but now television has changed, radio has changed. We do some recordings like this from time to time. And now I'm talking with Travis. He lives, his hometown is Sweetwater, Oklahoma, and now we're talking about his hunting season, which is extensive. So he's waiting on the phone right now. So let me ask, Trav, how many days a year do you hunt?
Oh, I would say we're probably out there around 200 days a year.
My goodness.
If not more than that.
And so you're not hunting in the summertime. So
that's pretty much the only time is at the end of May when turkey season's over. And we'll still go coyote hunting every now and then, or hog hunting or something like that, but it slows way down until the end of September.
So is an am I correct? And is it not an exaggeration for me to say, and I have done this with people who, and let me back up to say that one of the things that prompted this call and this recording is so many people on Facebook and my email and my television, my website and everything. They want to know about what happened to you and where you are. So, back to that, when you start hunting season then, in preparation for 2 weeks out, and then the hunting season begins, you hunt almost every day for 9 months. Is that right?
In some shape, form, or fashion, yes. I mean, there's be some days that we don't necessarily have clients, actually pulling the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always feeding that needs to be done, always new blinds that need to be put out or fixed or moved or repaired or anything like that. And we've also got, between three of us, we've got about 160, 170 head of cattle that, of course, have to be fed in the wintertime. So, all that coincides. So because once hunting season gets here, it's 7 days a week.
And you take care of the cattle. How many acres of land do you have that the cattle are owned that you're in charge of?
Let's see. I'm thinking off the top of my head. We've got 4 different pastures that range anywhere from 320 acres to 2,100 acres.
Oh my goodness! So you're talking about 3,000 acres?
Yeah, give or take. I think it's right around close to that.
Oh my goodness! Well, it takes somebody with your energy level and so forth. And let me digress for a moment to people who, and I'll get to it, that maybe just have joined us. This is Travis Johnson. He lives in Texas, and his response to my questions: do you wear cowboy boots every day? Yes. Do you wear a cowboy hat every day? It's yes. And he owns horses and he rides them every day. Am I right?
I wish I could ride a little bit more. Which we're getting into is quail season, deer season's over, so I'll get to ride a little bit more here over the next couple months between now and turkey season. I've got a 3-year-old colt that just needs some miles put on him. He's a good boy. He's just green.
I see. Didn't you tell me a couple of weeks ago that he fell on you?
No, that was the older horse.
I see.
Yeah, he. I don't know exactly what happened to him. He got some arthritis or something. He's an old man. He worked a cattle ranch for almost 20 years, and I was using him around here some, and yeah, he fell on me a couple times, and we decided he earned a good retirement, so he's out in the pasture with the cows and living it up.
Okay. All right. So you are, before we get to the hunting part, now would you refer to yourself as a bit of a cattleman now? You own cattle and put them out to pasture, buy and sell?
Yes, it's a cow-calf operation, so we have, some mama cows and bulls, and, whatever the calf crop is, we'll get them up to weaning size, and I just weaned some last week, and we got, some more coming up. As the winter goes on, we'll start having more new calves, and it's just, keep them fed and keep them happy and looking good, keep an eye on them, and when they get big enough, it's time to send the calves on down the road and start over again.
Oh, man, what a schedule. All right, let's go back to the hunting so the people who are listening to the program will get more out of it than your daily activities. So, how many people do you guide hunting every year? Wait, I want to ask first, what are all of the seasons and game that you hunt over the seasons?
Okay, so I started talking about antelope season earlier, so that's the first one, and then the archery whitetail. Then rifle season for whitetail starts, and then the week before Thanksgiving is when the mule deer season opens. And it's also so we'll hunt mule deer and whitetail at the same time, and then also right around then quail season opens, and we have all wild bob whites and blue quail, and then there's pheasant season for the month of December. So all that kind of goes in together. This week was the last week of the youth season for whitetail, and mule deer season's only 16 days long. And then this was the last week for the whitetail season. And now we have quail season will stay open till February 28th. And then from February 28th to the first, I think it's the last weekend of March, first weekend of April, turkey season opens, and we hunt, Rios out here in Texas and in Oklahoma. You can actually legally shoot 7 birds.
7
here with us, 3 in Oklahoma and 4 in Texas.
Okay.
And then it goes till the end of the third weekend of May, I believe, somewhere right in there. And then that season is closed, and then we just start all over at the end of September again.
Okay. Before we get to the astounding figures, if I'm recalling them correctly, about the turkey season, how many deer hunters do you have there over the course of the whitetail and mule deer season?
That's a hard number to put a figure to, just because, with the mule deer and everything, I don't see everybody because I'm in one place or the other. But I do know just around the Wheeler and the surrounding counties that we whitetail hunt here, I'm going to say that we killed somewhere around 75 to 80 deer just here, and then probably another 15 or so in Dalhart, which that's most of those are mule deer. There's not as many whitetails up there, but the ones that we do kill are bigger.
Such as?
160, 170-inch whitetail.
Oh, my goodness.
And 180-inch mule deer.
Oh.
I really do believe this year, if we have some rain during the spring and everything greens up good, we don't have any drought issues over the summer, that there's a really good chance we'll kill a 200-inch mule deer there this year.
Well, it's no wonder that Rush Creek and Travis and Danny are all booked up.
Yeah, it's a full boat most of the time. I mean, we try not to turn anybody away. Our antelope are obviously limited to the tag numbers that we have, and we limit the number of mule deer that we take because of the size of that ranch. We take a lot of care to manage that herd.
Okay.
But as far as whitetail hunting local around Wheeler and these surrounding counties here, we hardly turn anybody away.
What's your success ratio, would you think, for your whitetail hunters?
Actually, and it's just going to be hard for some people to believe, but actually this year we're right. In the past few years, we're right at 100% on trigger pull. Now, some people have gone home because they missed.
Okay.
But everybody for the past few years has at least pulled the trigger on one.
Well, that's remarkable, because the only hunter that I've ever known that's never missed is one that never goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I qualify that is I can do everything and help you with everything that involved in the hunt, except for I can't shoot for you.
Okay.
So once you pull the trigger, how that goes is on you. And I would like to say, this public service announcement here, people that are going, whether it's here or anywhere, if you're taking a rifle or a bow, whatever your choice of firearm or if you're archery hunting, sight the thing in before you get here.
Oh boy.
I hear a lot of times that people say, they miss one or hit one bad and we're having to track it, and you ask them about their rifle and they say, well, 2 years ago I went hunting and it was dead on. And it's just been sitting in the safe. Do us a favor and check it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even before you come, most nowadays with the technology with scopes and rifles and everything, it takes a lot to get them knocked off. But check it, and then if you want it, we have a place that we can check it once you get here.
Well,
but at least practice with it. That's the biggest thing. The biggest problem that we come across is rifles not being sighted in, and because these are all free range, fair 100% fair chase animals.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes depending on the time of year, that for that particular buck, that might be the only chance you get on him in your 4 or 5 day hunt. So,
right. So when people usually visit, they visit for 3, 4, 5 days at a time.
Yes, sir.
To make it a full experience of where you are and what you're doing.
Yes, sir. And Danny's really good about, if you got more time, he never turns anybody away. Come out and hunt as long as it takes. We'll stick with you and get the deer killed. Just, like I said, it is 100% wild, no high fence or anything like that. So, and weather and all the factors that, affect your hunt, you just gotta, if you can stick with it, we want everybody to go home with a deer.
Okay. Now you know where I hunt. You've hunted with me dozens of times. So correct me if I'm wrong. You know where I hunt, and so my average distance shot is going to be maybe 70 yards, maybe, or even closer. What's the average distance there where you hunt?
So at home where we have everything set up, which is where we do most of our whitetail hunting, we set it's blind sets and everything, and we set it up with the feeders and everything else. We set it up to where like 100 to 150 yards will be your shot.
Okay, let me interrupt you there. I'm up against the clock, so we're going to investigate this further when we get back. You're listening to WORX Radio. I'm O'Neill Williams, and we're talking with Travis Johnson. We want to get to something right away. What's the for Rush Creek, where you hunt, Texas and Oklahoma? What's the average distance shot?
So in Wheeler, we try to set it. We're blind hunting. And when I say blind hunting, sitting in a stand or a ground blind or something, we set it up. We don't want to set anybody up for failure. So you're 100 to maybe 150 yards in some instances will be your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is, because it is open out here, you could shoot a lot further than that, but we want everybody to be successful, and we don't want to set you up to something, because most people don't A lot of our clients, especially that come from the East Coast, don't get an opportunity to shoot that. So we want to make it easy. Now, when you go to Dalhart and we're hunting mule deer, now that's a spot and stalk, covering ground and finding deer.
I see.
That up there, you can stretch your barrel up there. We like to tell everybody that expect a 300-yard shot.
Oh boy.
We can usually get it better than that, but at 300, sometimes you run out of cover, you run out of ground, and you just can't get any closer to him. And being able to reach out just a little bit further, could make or break your hunt.
Yeah, you'd hate to just have them walk out. That's too far. I can't take that shot.
Right. But that being said, the mule deer that I've taken personally up there over the years, I've never shot over 200 yards.
Okay.
So just to have it in your back pocket to be able to, if you can find an area to practice that before you come out and be comfortable with it, that's the new ones that, hear about it through your show or, just a lot of it's word of mouth. Hey,
okay.
I talked to a guy that said he came and hunted with you. So
right. That works, absolutely. Okay, we've got another hour of outdoors and catching up with Travis Johnson when we return. This is O'Neill, and we'll be back.
WORX Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits, WORX Power and Garden Tools, CVA muzzle loaders, it's just a better gun, Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience, TUFFSHED, great storage sheds and custom buildings, True Turn Hooks, hook more fish, Furminator, the best food plot implements on earth, Roadrunner Lures, Roadrunner equals more fish, Arctic Ice, the most durable and versatile cooler packs, Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait, and the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, state parks, and historic sites.
Good morning, boys and girls. This is O'Neill with WORX Radio. Welcome to the program from the Bojangles studio high in the mountains of North Georgia. We're talking outdoors for another hour. No political conversations. Aren't you sick of it? I sure am. And you're listening to, ordinarily, the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the country. Today is a recorded program because I have had so many people on my website and Facebook and email want to know about Travis. Where is Travis? What is Travis doing? Where does he live? Why don't we see him anymore? So we decided we would round him up and find out all about him. And in the first hour of the program, I'll give you a little synopsis here. We found out he lives in a little town called Sweetwater, Oklahoma, and he hunts in the Panhandle, not North Texas. He hunts in the Panhandle of Texas for whitetail and mule deer and antelope and coyotes and hogs and quail and ducks and turkeys. And so we're finding out all about that, about where he lives and his lifestyle, what he does for a living. And I think, well, you have already expressed interest in those subjects. So we've got him on the line now, and in a few minutes I'll round him back up. He's probably out trying to rope a horse or something right now. But I'll get him back on the air. I'll get him back on the air in a couple of minutes. But reminding you, this is WORX Radio, brought to you by a host of very valued, high-quality sponsors, and I'll be telling you about those as we roll along. And I don't want you to think this is a self-serving conversation with Travis. I'm responding from Travis because so many people have asked about him. I mean, one of the first programs on O'Neill Outside in 2021 on Fox Networks and Waypoint TV and Carbon TV and the Hunt Channel and on and on and on, all these VOD networks and smart TV and everything. I saw the show the other day, and it's when Travis and I went fishing, and he was 5 years old. So it brought back memories for me, and so we're going to round up Travis, and we'll be back. In case you just joined us, this is O'Neill with WORX Radio, and we're having a long, informative conversation with Travis Johnson. And you'll get to know, if you don't already know him, you'll get to know him. So here we go. Welcome back, Trav.
How's it going?
All right, outstanding. And we're learning all about you. Not that many people care, but evidently they do. In any case, we've learned that you live in a little town called Sweetwater, Oklahoma, and that you hunt somewhere in the territory of 200 days a year. That's about right, huh?
Yep, in some shape, form, or fashion, we're doing something hunting related.
Okay, all right, and you're loving it, and you're not coming back, right?
No, you
okay.
Can't make me.
All right, you're a cowboy now. All right, I want to talk now. In the first half of the program, we talked extensively about whitetail and mule deer and distances and shots and what the success ratio is and so on. But the following, and I'm going to lead into this, the following is an astounding number. But before I do that, I want to make sure that everybody understands that where you hunt in Oklahoma and in the Panhandle, both sides of the Panhandle, this is not a high fence. This is how many thousands of acres? 100,000?
We got 100,000 on the west side of the Panhandle and about 30,000 on the east side. Okay,
so this is hunting, right?
It's 100% wild, 100% fair chase.
Okay, and it's the reference is for it's Rush Creek, R-U-S-H, Rush Creek, and you work directly with Rush Creek, and you have now for 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's Rush Creek Guide Services. Add the S on the end, rushcreekguideservices.com. We'll get you to the website, and that's where you can get prices and, season dates and all the contact information. Well, I'll give you, you want to know anything else about it, the number to contact Danny is 806-323-3030.
Okay, 3030. I remember that, yes. Well, all right.
How's a hunting guide wind up with a 3030 for the phone number?
It's a charmed life, evidently. All right, we're going to jump around here for a minute, but while we're into the hunting season, correct me if I'm wrong, that 2 years ago, God, I hope I remember this correctly, for the hunting season, for the turkey season, you killed over 200 Rios?
Somewhere between 215 and 220. There's been a little debate amongst the guides of all the different guides of if we got 210 or if we got 220. So we'll settle on around 215.
That's a lot of turkeys, Travis.
That is a lot of turkeys. I mean, there was many days where we were killing, 4 to 8 birds a piece. Well, not us individual, but between our clients. Turkey season, I'll run 2 or 3 people at a time. Sometimes more than that, but average, 2 or 3 people hunting with me at one time.
Well, that's got to be a exciting hunt for somebody who hasn't done that sort of thing, to see so many and have so many opportunities.
Oh yeah, it's the turkeys. These turkeys right here, they'll spoil you. They're usually pretty vocal, and they're out and about all day. Of course, we can hunt over feed in Texas for them, so that helps out a lot.
Sure.
But they're responsive, and there's just a bunch of
them. Yeah. Evidently,
and they're dumb as a bag of rocks.
Okay. They're not like these Easterns, huh?
No, those Easterns will hurt your feelings, and you got to come out here and hunt these to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, the Easterns have made me pooch my lips out lots of times.
Now I will say some of these Rios they'll do it to you after they've been hunted a little bit. They start figuring out the jigs up, So, you know, they do toward the end of the season. I mean, we always get them, but toward the end of the season, you might have to work for a few more hours to get a bird.
Okay.
So,
well, back to this full season and the success ratios for antelope all the way through to the end of the turkey season. If people want to avail themselves and visit with Travis at Rush Creek Guide Services, they should call you now for 2021.
Yes, call. Everything we do is on a first come, first served basis, and that is done by, you know, get in touch with Danny and get yourself on the books and send your deposit in and get on the calendar as soon as you can, because it will start filling up. Yeah, we got plenty of room, but it will start filling up, you know, between now and season starting.
Okay, what's the success ratio for turkey season?
It's everybody kills a bird. There's very few people go home empty-handed.
Well, if they don't, they just choose not to shoot. Well, I know,
or they miss. There are people that miss. I can't stress enough. Practice with, you know, whatever you're going to hunt with, whether it's a bow, a muzzleloader, shotgun, rifle, you know, for turkeys, deer, you know, across the board. You know, even if you're quail hunting, you know, I can't say enough about practice shooting.
Practice from the ground, practice from a tree, practice left-handed, right-handed, 40 yards, 50 yard practice.
Right.
And you know, one of the things that I had to
trigger pulls. Trigger pulls will make you a better shooter.
Yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, one of the surprises that I had was taught to me, and I'm sure you'll agree, was a few years ago, because I quite frankly hadn't thought of it, hadn't done it in a long time. You need to pattern your shotgun.
Yes, for turkeys, especially nowadays, with the advancements in ammunition. Well, we've got the TSS ammunition that a lot of people are shooting. You know, the red dot scopes, and you know, and being able to do all of that with your shotgun. It's just no longer a point and shoot game. It's, you know, you actually have to pattern and sight in your shotgun.
Okay. Yeah, because if, you know, it doesn't take much of a miss. What is it Tom Kelly always said? That's food for wildcats.
Right.
Yeah, you injure him, he flies away, and the coyotes get him.
Right.
So, okay, how long is the turkey season for you guys?
So, turkey season opens in, now we hunt turkeys in Texas and Oklahoma. When you come hunt with us, you have the option of killing up to 7 birds.
Okay.
Of course, your first 2, you know, it's sold as a package of two birds to start off with, and then after that, there's an additional fee. But you can, you know, if you want to spend the money, you can shoot up to 7. And where was I going with that? And so the season opens in Texas the first weekend of April.
Okay.
And we'll run till just about the end of May. And
wow.
Oklahoma opens the week after.
Okay.
So if you're here for opening week of Texas, then we can't go to Oklahoma till the next weekend. So, and then they run together and close around the same time.
I see. It's no wonder, you know, because and I want to qualify everyone that's listening. This that I'm talking with Travis about is re-information, because I've been there and hunted whitetail. I didn't hunt mule deer, and I hunted turkeys, but I didn't do, and I'm surprised, quite frankly, and I want to be sure to include that you're quail and duck hunting now.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Quail, pheasant, ducks, geese, and I'm trying to, if I can get the birds figured out, we're trying to include sandhill cranes into that as well.
Flying filet mignon, huh?
So, and they're actually really good. We got a few this year and was able to try it. It was the first time I'd ever had it. So
really
I
good,
heard all the hype, and I said, I hope they live up to it, and they do.
Okay.
They are just as good as everybody says they are.
All right, I got to go now, but I'll be back. I have something else to ask you. Welcome back, everyone. This is, of course, WORX Radio, and a departure from our normal live broadcast. Today, it's recorded. And we're talking with Travis Johnson, my grandson, and versus my spilling out all this all over again to you guys who have may or heard it. And if you're just tuned in, I'm going to ask Travis now to reintroduce himself to the audience. Travis, the microphone is yours.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yes, it is.
There's no telling what I might say. Basically moved from, Atlanta, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
Moved from Atlanta out to, I live in Sweetwater, Oklahoma, and involved in the daily activities at Rush Creek Guide Services, and hunting. We hunt everything from white-tailed deer to antelope, mule deer, quail, pheasant, ducks, geese, you name it, hogs, coyotes. This is a really good place to hunt coyotes, by the way. And just come out and everybody has a good time, and I'm working, it's 7 days a week around here.
All right, beyond the guide services, before we get to something else within that subject, what else do you do on the land? Are you a cattleman?
Yes, sir. We run between myself and Danny's wife, Kim, and her son-in-law. We have about 160, 170 head of cattle. Mm-hmm. That we take care of, and it's a cow-calf operation. So we got the mamas get to stay, and every year we raise the calves up to a good size, and then send them on down the road and start over again.
Okay.
And I'm learning all this, because I obviously didn't grow up doing it, but it's a really interesting deal. We do it like they used to do it back in the day. Mm-hmm. Gathering with horses, and I'm still learning about the horses and learning how to take care of the cattle. So there's a learning curve involved, but I'm getting it figured out, and it's just every day is different.
I imagine so, and it's 7 days a week, isn't it?
Yes, sir. There's always something that needs to be done. Now, granted, that's not to say that it's not 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. It kind of has its ups and downs and everything, but there's always something that needs to be done.
Well, during the hunting season, it is 12 and 14-hour days, is it not?
Oh, yeah. So during hunting season, it's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning till 10, 11 o'clock at night, just about every day.
Okay. All right. You've got Rush Creek Guide Services and Travis and Danny, and you guys work hard and everything, and you're extremely successful in the ratios of pulling the trigger, 100% on antelope, 100% on deer, 100% on turkeys and everything. Nobody could ask for anything better. Now, from some hunter who might be listening to this program here and hasn't been guided before, okay, because most people haven't, okay, what would you say delicately about the etiquette of being guided, and how is the proper method for the hunter to assume?
Okay. So, what I look for is, one, I want everybody to be honest with me about their experience level. And this is not a, I'm better than you or kind of deal. As I want to know what you've done, where you've hunted before, what you've been able to experience. Mm-hmm. And we're willing. All of us are willing to. We'll help you in any way possible. You just got to let us know ahead of time. Okay. The other thing would be, if you have your gear, prepare for the hunt. Check the weather. Sometimes it gets real cold out here. Sometimes it's hot. So depending on when you're going to be, wherever it is you go, check your gear out and everything. And that being said, I'll refer to a guy that's now a good friend of mine. His name's Barry. He lives in Australia. he never hunted over here before, found us, was here visiting some friends or family, wanted to go on a hunt, came, and he, you know, obviously coming from Australia, he didn't have a gun or any gear with him, and he let me know that ahead of time, and so I got, you know, I let him use my rifle. We went and shot it and made him familiar with it. I let him borrow some, you know, some good heavy coveralls because it was real cold while he was here and everything. So we don't mind, you know, we'll set you up. We just got to know that you need it.
I got you.
You know, ahead of time. So just, you know, being honest with us about your experience and letting us know what you need, that helps us out a lot because we don't wind up getting out in the field and you saying, well, I don't have whatever.
Okay.
And then it's not a scramble.
Yeah, and you need to know what he expects. Right.
And yes, also, you know, let us know that, you know, what your expectations are, what you're looking for. This past week I hunted with, it's the youth season, but I hunted with two really good boys from Idaho that came down. It was a really great pleasure to hunt with them, but, you know, I sat in the blind with them. They'd never hunted whitetail before, ever. They don't have them where they live.
Okay.
Now they were some of the best shots that I'd seen, you know, this season. They'd hang out up there with most of the adults, you know, as far as their shooting abilities, and they hunted elk and all that. So they had a background in hunting, but they didn't know, you know, when a whitetail buck walked out, they didn't know what they were looking at.
Okay.
So like I said, you know, I sat with them and everything, and we'll like I said, what I'm getting at, I guess, is we'll do whatever we need to do to make your hunt successful, because that's what we want. We want you to get one just as bad, sometimes worse, than you want to get one.
Mm-hmm. This is personal now, and if you don't want to answer it, it's okay. What's your average tip when you're a guide?
Well, see, so it's kind of one of those deals, and this is kind of delicate. Nobody be mad at me, please. I'm not trying to get in your pocket. I just know this is how we make our living. This is our full-time job, you know, for most of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's a fishing outfit, you know, generally $100 a day for the mate and the captain.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that, you know,
okay,
for a deer hunting guide. You know, $100 a day is a good measure. Or 10% of your, you know, the total cost of your hunt, 10% of that, kind of like going to a restaurant.
Okay.
That's kind of what, you know, we don't expect it, but that's kind of what's expected. If I'm, you know, I'm kind of walking on eggshells. I don't want anybody to take that the wrong way, but, you know, that's, like I said, that's how we make our living. You know, we count on that, and it's a long summer sometimes.
Yeah.
Without making any money. So we want to be able to keep doing this and be here for you. So,
well, I can testify that if a hunter telephones Rush Creek Guide Services and asks for Travis, I can testify without unashamedly telling you, Mr. Hunter, that Travis is going to go 110%. for 14 hours a day to see to it that you get your deer.
Yes, sir. And that's the thing too. I mean, honestly, you know, when we're talking about tips, if you're not satisfied with, you know, what we did, you know, you know, let us know. And if you don't feel like we've earned it, then, you know, I guess we didn't earn it, because it is a tip. It's not a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you know, kind of selfishly saying, I know what I put into it, and so, you know, there's that part. And I will tell you the one thing that a lot of people don't see is the behind the scenes stuff, you know,
mm-hmm.
of taking care of the blinds and all that preseason, and, you know, maintaining the areas and all that. You know, you see us, you know, sometimes during the season, it may look like we're just dropping you off and going and sitting in the truck and taking a nap. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't see. So that was just, like I said, hopefully I didn't make anybody mad saying that. But
well, there's
yeah.
a lot of for you to put somebody in a blind, and then you leave and you go wait, because you got 3 or 4 or 5 guys. There's a lot of background that led you to put them in that spot.
Yes, sir. We're very good about checking cameras. Like I said, maintain probably 95% of our spots. There's a feed station or a feeder or something of that nature there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's before you got there, us going out there every day and doing that and checking the cameras and putting corn out or planting food plots and just keeping up with the maintenance of the place. And then of course there's truck maintenance, changing tires and changing the oil and everything else that goes into that so that you have a successful hunt.
Okay, well, I know you're working awfully hard to see to it that everyone is satisfied. And let's go back to, because this is really important, let's go back to my question, what is the biggest mistake the hunters make that produces a no-kill or unsuccessful hunt?
Well, there's several of them. One of them is, listen to your guide because we live here. we know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. The other thing is, not being, not practicing your shooting, not being familiar with your gear.
Okay. Well, I asked you, pardon me, Travis, I asked you that question. I'm getting involved, and I asked you that question right up against the clock break I have to take. So keep those things in mind. This is O'Neill with WORX Radio, and we'll be back. If you're just joining us at the end of our program this weekend, this is O'Neill with WORX Radio, a recorded show because I wanted to speak extensively over the 2 hours about outdoors with Travis Johnson, my grandson. And if you've been listening for the last half an hour or so, you've learned a lot about him, where he lives, what he does for a living, and he's a legitimate cowboy now. And in the previous subject matter that we were into were the things that he's a guide, and the things that his guests or the hunters that come in, what do they do wrong? The mistakes that they make that keep them from harvesting a deer. Was that where we were?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the biggest thing, during the break, I kind of thought about it a little bit more. The biggest thing is not being prepared, and that could be, mainly what I'm talking about is during rifle. I'll use rifle season for an example.
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of times that I get the call, hey, I shot, I don't know if I hit it.
Oh.
And that's fine, by the way, because that's Josie, my little dog. That's her favorite thing in the world to do is go find deer.
Okay.
So I don't mind one running a little bit, because I get to have fun with her. But the biggest thing, and so we get there, we're looking for blood, or I put Josie on the ground, and we're looking for them, and we determine that it's either a miss or not hit good enough for there to be anything to find. And I hear it, it's the worst thing that you could say to a guide is, well, the last time I shot this gun, it was on. Mm-hmm. And when we say, well, when was that? Well, we went deer hunting up in Idaho 2 years ago.
Oh boy.
So who knows what has happened to it? And I shoot all the time. I carry a rifle with me in my truck all the time, and I'm shooting coyotes or hogs or whatever. And I still every so often I'll take my gun and shoot, go target practice, make sure that everything's tightened up, locked down, nothing's gotten knocked off, and just practice with it. I know what that gun is going to do. And that's what trigger pulls is what makes you a better shooter. Oh yeah,
I can just imagine what it must be like if you put somebody at a spot and they have a terrific deer and he misses, and then he says, that's a new caliber I was shooting. I hadn't tried that before. I must have missed. That's a heartbreaker.
Right. No, because we really do. Well, all of us, all the guys here. But this is what we love to do. We love to be hunting, and so this, I'm just as emotionally involved in it as you are. I want you to get a good deer. I want you to have a good time. I want these deer. I'm basically hunting them without pulling the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see them on the ground. I want to put my hands on them, And so when you miss or something like that, and I know it happens. The only person who's never missed is the guy who's either a liar or he's never been.
Right.
You know, so I get accidents happen and things of that nature. So, but when you come back with it and say, well, you know, I changed these bullets up. I was shooting 130 grain, and now I got 165 grain, whatever's in there. And then it's like, oh, come on, man! Like you don't even know where that bullet's going.
Correct. The greatest thing you have,
and also just having the patience. Your gun can be on, but if you're in a spot that you can see a long ways, and that's not a shot, you know, rushing your shot trying to, you know, get a deer killed, and you shoot at him at 300 or 400 yards away, and you've never done that, or you know, and stuff like that. You know, that kind of that's a heartbreaker, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. It's sad for everyone. So, all right, let's back up for a minute to get the perspective, if you will. Again, we're talking with Travis. Travis is a full-time guide, a cattleman. He lives in Oklahoma. He hunts in the panhandle of Texas. And the land area that Rush Creek Guide Services, where Travis works and hunts, is how many acres?
So we've got on the east side of the Panhandle, somewhere in the territory of 30,000 here around home, and then we've got right around 100,000 on the west side of the Panhandle.
My goodness, that's the perspective. I go to that back to that often, as I have over the last 2 hours, because the perspective in that. That's gigantic. All right, let's change subject and let's go to
you know, that's really the. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's really the reason for our high success rates. Is because we've got so much ground and so many animals. You know, if you stick with us, you know, most places that you go hunt, you book a 5-day hunt. At the end of your 5 days, you didn't kill a deer. Sorry, bro, you got to go home. You know, there's more people coming in. And so we don't do it like that. If you come and you got the time and you can stay a few extra days, if hunting's been hard, you know, we'll spend, you know, 6, 7, 8 days with you and cover as much ground as we can to get you that deer. We want everybody to go home with a deer or a quail or a pheasant or a turkey, whatever, you know, antelope, whatever it is. Right.
Well, you're having a fabulous time. Let's talk a moment about because people are going to be surprised at this. You actually hunt sandhill cranes.
Yes, sir. That's something that we're kind of getting into. I had one group and that came up this year that we hunted, and he had the gear, so it was kind of a test to see whether or not, you know, we wanted to get into it. And we got a few. There's a bunch of them around, but there's still kind of learning how to get that done. But they're a huge bird and taste great. It's each, you know, you fillet the breast out, you know, like you would a turkey, and it's like the biggest, thickest ribeye you've ever had.
No, okay. That's a flying ribeye, huh?
Yeah, ribeye of the sky or flying fillet or. You know, there's all kind of different names for them, but that's one of those that they do live up to the hype.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come out there and see you again, you know, pretty soon, I think. Well,
you should. We still got plenty of animals running around here that need shot at.
You're looking forward to a good turkey season in beginning in April?
Hoping so. Seen some young birds during deer season, so. Last year there was a lot of jakes, so we'll have a lot of the dumb 2-year-olds running around. Mm-hmm. So they should be vocal and running around crazy. So, you know, always turkey season's always fun.
And how many 2 years ago? How many did you take during that season?
Around 215 gobblers.
That's just.
We usually do about you know, anywhere between 150 and 200, but a couple years ago we had a really good season. You know, we had a lot of people killing multiple birds, so that put us over.
Well, I'm proud of you for making a life for yourself out there, And more than anything, I'm proud of you, and I'm sure a lot of people are that have contacted me urging me to telephone you and put you on the show is that you're happy.
Yep, it's a lot of hard work, but you know, it's working around good people. It's good, honest work. You know, really, I like to know when I go to bed at night that, you know, I accomplished something.
I got tickled. I think it was one evening. It was late at night, and you were headed back to the barn, so to speak. I guess do you call going back to the barn, the lodge? What do you call it?
We're headed to the barn.
All right, you're headed to the barn, and you called me, and you were in the truck. I think you were alone in the truck, and you said, "I've got some antelope in the truck. I'm going to go clean."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "How many do you have?" Do you recall what you said that time?
Oh, it was probably 3 or 5. I can't remember.
I think it was even more than that, you sly devil. It was 9.
Okay, that was last year coming back from up there.
Okay.
I had everybody's loaded in the truck at one time.
Right. So how many?
But yeah, that was for over a couple of days.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that was over a couple of days worth.
So in that case, then you had to clean all those animals that night, right?
Yeah, most of them were already skinned and ready to go to the processor because that's hot that time of year. So we get them undressed pretty quick so that the meat doesn't spoil. So those bunch, they were probably mostly quartered in coolers and had the last couple, you know, from the last couple days that I had to go back and finish cleaning it and then carry over to the processor the next morning. Usually I'll get them quartered up in ice so that they'll keep.
Well, I want to tell people that ask me now, what is Travis doing? And my answer, now that we've spoken for 2 hours and covered the subject completely, I think, about the where, when, why, what, and what you're doing and everything, and that is, quite frankly, with the cattleman part and everything, you're on one great big adventure, aren't you?
Oh yeah, every day, everything's different. Some days I might stay in the barn all day working on a vehicle. You know, then we'll have, you know, a weekend where we're, you know, roping and dragging and branding cattle.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, then we'll deer hunt, and mule deer hunt, and you know, turn around and go run bird dogs for a few days. So it's a lot of the same stuff over and over again, but it's a lot of different stuff over and over again at the same time.
Well,
and then, of course, with the hunting, you know, every hunt's different.
And no 2 days are the same for you, are they?
No, not usually.
Well, I will tell everybody that's been inquiring that I don't think that where you live, I don't think you can see another house, can you?
No, sir. You can't. My closest neighbor is just just over a mile away.
Which is just fine with you, isn't it?
That's perfectly fine. I can sit on my back porch and turn the radio on and have an adult beverage if I choose to, and I don't hear any traffic. Actually, I was out there earlier today, and the loudest thing I could hear was about 1,000 geese that were lighting on the wheat field behind the house.
Oh, so. And you have been known to fire up that big green egg back there too, hadn't you?
Oh yeah, it gets cooked on a lot.
I'll bet it does.
The biggest heartbreaker I had last week was I went out there to fire it up, and I was out of charcoal.
Oh, look out!
So we made a 45-minute pilgrimage into town to get charcoal.
Okay. Oh Lord. Well, it's been quite a conversation for us this morning. I hope that the people who have been so diligently inquiring about you and what you do and where you live and all that we've been fulfilling in that. And I will, again, before we close on this part, and I have another question later, is Travis now lives in Sweetwater, Oklahoma. He's a cattleman and a full-time deer, turkey, and wildlife guide. Is that close?
That's pretty close.
Okay, you stay.
You tell everybody when they ask what I'm doing, tell them I'm working, but I'm having the time of my life.
Okay, so I'll be back.
I'm having more fun than they are, no matter what they're doing.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Conclusion of a conversation with Travis Johnson. So, Travis, you got a minute and a half. What do you want to tell everybody before you start back to work this afternoon?
Well, you know, it was good to know that everybody was, you know, wondering where I was at. I will tell you not to call anybody out. It's been funny out here that a few people have come out here to hunt and not realized that it was me, and then talked to me about me hunting there.
Yeah.
So that you know, I always got a kick out of that. It hadn't happened very often, but it's happened a couple times.
So what you're saying is people recognize you from the television show?
Yes. Well, they don't recognize me, but they know that Travis has been there.
Oh, I see.
So there's been a couple of times they've actually talked to me about me hunting here.
Oh, I see.
Without realizing it was me.
Okay.
So, and then they get a kick out of it when I tell them who I am. So, you know, it's good to get to talk to everybody again, and you know, I hope everybody, you know, continues listening to the show and enjoying it. I know that I'm still on the show.
Yes.
So you know, I hope everybody continues to do that, and also, you know, I'd like to, you know, see some people come hunt.
Oh man,
we got room. You know, we got some dates still open. For whatever, like I said, it's antelope, quail, pheasant, whitetail, mule deer, hogs, coyotes, whatever tickles your fancy. You know, we've probably got, you know, something close to it.
Okay, so tell everybody how to find you.
So you can go to the website and then answer a lot of questions there. It's rushcreekguideservices.com.
Okay.
Or you can, if you want to book a hunt or anything, you can call Danny Pierce. His phone number is 806-323-3030.
Well,
and he can get you booked and on the calendar to come out here, and all the guides, you know, myself and Nathan and Mark and Ken and everybody and Jimbo, you know, we're all look forward to you coming, and you know, just come out and have a good time.
Okay. Well, thank you for the time you spent today. You made for an excellent radio program. We fulfilled everybody's wishes about finding out about you. And the only thing I can say is when we leave is, I love you, pal.
Love you too. Come see me.
You bet.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill outside on my radio. O'Neill, O'Neill, O'Neill outside.